If you have been on finance Twitter or tech forums in the last 48 hours, you have seen the photos. People are buying Mac Minis in bulk. I'm not talking about one or two. I'm talking about stacks of them, sitting on desks like bricks of gold. You see developers, entrepreneurs, and content creators rushing to the Apple Store like it's a sneaker drop. And they aren't buying them to edit videos or run spreadsheets. They are buying them to run a specific piece of software that just went viral called Clawdbot. The narrative right now is incredibly seductive. The pitch is that for the price of a mid-range computer, you can install this open-source software and essentially hire a 24/7 employee that lives on your desk. It has access to your files, it can read your emails, it can manage your calendar, and it works while you sleep. And the best part? It's supposedly free. It's open source. There is no monthly subscription fee to the developer. So, from a business perspective, this looks like the ultimate asset. You pay a one-time capital expenditure, the cost of the Mac Mini, and you get an infinite return on labor. It sounds like the infinite money glitch we have all been waiting for. But yesterday, the reality check hit, and it hit hard. A prominent tech creator named Matthew Berman, who was one of the first people to really stress test this system, released his findings. And the numbers he showed weren't just surprising, they were financially terrifying. He didn't save money. He didn't break even. In a single 24-hour period of testing this free bot, he burned through $130. That is not a typo. $130 in a single day. If you annualize that, you are looking at an operating expense of nearly $47,000 a year. That is more than the median income in many parts of the world. That is the cost of a full-time, living, breathing human employee. So today, we need to stop looking at the hype and start looking at the balance sheet. We need to perform a forensic audit on the Clawdbot trend. Is this actually a revolutionary financial asset that will make you a millionaire in 2026? Or is this a hardware bubble that is going to leave thousands of people with depreciating assets and a massive cloud computing bill they didn't see coming? To understand the financial risk here, you have to understand the architecture. Why is everyone buying Mac Mini specifically? Why not a PC? Why not a cloud server? Clawdbot is designed to run locally. That means the orchestration, the brain that decides check email or write code, lives on your physical machine. The Mac Mini with the M4 chip has become the gold standard for this because of its unified memory architecture. Essentially, it is very good at running AI models efficiently. So the smart money decided that the M4 Mac Mini is the pick and shovel of this gold rush. This is your capital expenditure, or CapEx. You spend $600 to $800. In the world of business expenses, that is negligible. If you could actually replace a human employee for a one-time payment of $600, that would be the greatest ROI in the history of capitalism. That is why you see people buying 10 of them. They think they are building a server farm for the price of a used car. But here's the trap, and it is a trap that catches almost every non-technical investor. They confuse the engine with the fuel. The Mac Mini is just the engine, it is the metal box. But for Clawdbot to actually be smart, for it to write a marketing strategy or debug code or analyze a spreadsheet, it needs intelligence. And right now, the default setting for that intelligence is to connect the bot to Anthropic's Claude Opus model via an API. This is where the hidden operating expense explodes. When you use ChatGPT or the Claude website, you are paying a flat fee, $20 a month. It's a buffet. You can eat as much as you want. But when you use the API, which Clawdbot does, you are paying a la carte. You pay for every single word the AI reads and every single word the AI writes. Now, you might think, okay, but text is cheap. How did Matthew Berman spend $130 in a day? The answer lies in how these agents work. They have something called persistent memory. This is the feature everyone loves. It means the bot remembers that you prefer short emails or that you were working on a specific project. But to remember that, the bot has to reread its own memory file every single time you ask it a question. Imagine you hired an employee, and every time you asked them to send an email, they had to sit down and read the entire employee handbook from page 1 to page 500 before they typed a single letter. That is what Clawdbot is doing. It is context stuffing. In Matthew's test, his bot processed 70 million tokens in a day. 70 million! Because every time it tried to do a task, it had to load the entire history of the project into its brain to ensure it didn't make a mistake. At the current market rate for high-end AI models, that creates a burn rate that is unsustainable for 99% of businesses. If you buy this Mac Mini thinking it's a set-it-and-forget-it solution, you are going to wake up to a credit card bill that looks like a mortgage payment. However, this is a finance channel, and in finance, where there is inefficiency, there is opportunity. The reason the super users are still bullish on this, despite the costs, is the second layer of this technology, local models. This is the pivot that changes the investment thesis. The Mac Mini is powerful enough that you don't have to use the expensive paid models from Anthropic or OpenAI. You can download a smaller free model like Llama 3 or DeepSeek and run it directly on the chips inside the Mac Mini. If you do that, your cost per token drops from expensive to literally zero. You are using your own electricity and your own hardware. This is the arbitrage opportunity. The people who are going to make money with Clawdbot are not the ones just plugging it in and letting it burn cash. It's the people who are technically savvy enough to optimize the system. They use the expensive model for the hard tasks, like writing complex legal code, and they switch to the free local model for the easy tasks, like summarizing an email. If you can figure out that optimization, you actually achieve the dream. You get the 24/7 employee, and your only cost is electricity. But we also need to look at the macro picture. Who is really getting rich here? In every gold rush, the surest bet is never the miner, it is the shovel seller. Right now, Apple is selling hardware at a record pace to people who might not even know how to code. Anthropic is collecting massive API fees from people testing this out. We are witnessing a massive transfer of wealth from productivity seekers, people like you and me who just want to save time, to the infrastructure providers. So, what is the final verdict? Is Clawdbot a buy? If you were looking at this purely as a financial asset, it is high risk. It is not a passive income stream. It is a high-maintenance machine that requires constant supervision to ensure it is not burning through your capital. But if you treat it as R&D, research and development, it might be worth it. The capability to have a machine autonomously execute tasks on your computer is the future of work. There is no doubt about it. The people who master this tool today, despite the costs, will be the ones building the agencies and the businesses of tomorrow. Just don't go into this thinking it's free. The software cost is zero. The hardware cost is $600, but the tuition fee to learn how to use it without going bankrupt, that price is still being determined. Invest accordingly.